But Declan Rice, he was the story. I think he is the story for Arsenal at the moment. He's the heartbeat of the team, scored twice for the first time in the Premier League in his career, which I think tells you everything you need to know, really, that he's a brilliant player, but he needs to score more goals because he's played nearly 300 Premier League matches. And that's an area I think at the start of the season he spoke to Arteta about, or Arteta spoke to him about. And I think also for England, he's got, I think, 6 goals. So he's good enough to score more. He has to score more because the bloke they signed in the summer to sort of fire the goals to get them to the title has only scored 5 goals, Victor Gyökeres, and he looks totally lost. I mean, at the moment, it's remarkable. You think where Arsenal are 6 points clear at the top, and their top scorers are 5 goals in the Premier League, and that's Trossard and Gyökeres. And normally, teams that win the Premier League, you have at least one player that scores 20 goals. So it could be a first for a team to win the Premier League and not have a player that gets more than 15 goals. But Arsenal do have the best squad in the league, I think, which is why they're sort of getting through and getting the results they need.
Charlie, we'll come to Declan Rice in more detail in just a moment, but Alison Rudd's piece in the Sunday Times, she was at the Vitality Stadium as well, and it kind of illustrates the difference between last season and this season for Arsenal. She says this was the sort of game during which Arsenal came unstuck in the previous 3 seasons, allowing nerves or conservatism to creep in for a lack of self-belief to permeate the team. But in spite of Bournemouth's effervescence, Arsenal's body language never stopped conveying a sense of innate superiority and that they relished the challenge on the South Coast on a bitterly cold evening. They also, if you go back to the corresponding fixture last season, had William Saliba sent off. It was their first defeat of the season. It felt like a bit of a turning point. It was their 3rd red card of the season. They had 6 in all in the Premier League season last season. None so far this time. I spoke to Mikel Arteta on Friday specifically about this discipline, and he has said that they've had to learn lessons from what happened last season. And what are we, into 2026, and no red cards? The discipline's improved, hasn't it?
Yeah, hugely. And actually, you look at the last 4 games, they've won their last 4. I mean, they've won their last 5, but of the last 4, they dropped points in all of those corresponding fixtures last season. Yeah, the red card thing's interesting because the season they first got good and went for the title, 22-23, their discipline completely flipped that season, and it was very good, having been really, you think the season before they had a lot of red cards, the kind of height of Xhaka, mad red mist and that sort of thing. Then they really settled down. Then, yeah, last season, they got 1 and it kind of then this big persecution complex built, and I think he had to get rid of that and be like, look, we've had a few contentious ones. We remember Rice himself had that one against Brighton for kicking the ball away when that was all the rage before they decided, nah, it's fine. But yeah, they've massively improved that, and you look at the best teams. I mean, Arsenal under Wenger are the exception. They got a lot of red cards and somehow coped, but mostly, Guardiola's City, they don't get many because they're rarely putting themselves in position where they're out of control and they're chasing things. You don't see Rodri very often flying into tackles. That's not his game. And someone like Zubimendi has come in. He got booked yesterday, but he exudes that, I think. Like, Rice has been brilliant this season. Zubimendi, possibly the signing of the season anywhere in the Premier League. I mean, he is so good. And yesterday, he won the ball back, something like he was in double figures, something like that. And he, I think, has been so key to why Rice has been so good this season as well. And it was very Steven Gerrard-like, but not just the celebration. Those 2 finishes were really Gerrard-esque, I thought.
We always talk about these previous seasons, Johnny, about when Arsenal had been so close and rival fans have mocked them, second again. It does feel very, very different this time, though, doesn't it? And maybe we've even said that before.
Well, I think it does. I think it does feel different. I still have them as my favourites for the title. As good as City are, as much as they've kind of turned themselves around from the start of 2025. I just think if you look at, I mean, we talk about the lack of goals coming from Gyökeres, but I think it can be a strength as well. If you think that Jesus has hardly played a part, Havertz hasn't played a part. Someone like Ethan Nwaneri has barely featured. There are potential. There is so much potential for players to come off the bench. Madueke comes
Eze
in.
hasn't got off the bench 4 games.
Eze hasn't got off the bench. Madueke comes in last night, and I thought he was really good. Like he was, he was a potential game changer, and it allowed them to leave Saka on the bench. I think that the ability to rotate and not have that drop off in quality is I think a real key for them, because we talked about maybe the lack of depth in that squad in previous seasons, and whereas City are maybe incredibly reliant on Haaland, they're incredibly reliant on maybe 4 or 5 key players. I don't see that with Arsenal. Rice drops out of the side and they beat Villa 4-1. So that collective strength, I think, that's the sort of quality that wins titles.
Charlie Wyatt, Johnny mentioned Declan Rice there when he missed out against Aston Villa and Arsenal managed to cope. Sam Dean in the Sunday Telegraph is effectively pushing maybe for Rice to be player of the season. Force of nature, Rice furthers his case for player of season honour. The best goal scorer in the Premier League is Erling Haaland, but is there a more complete footballing force in the division than Declan Rice, he says. The Arsenal midfielder continues to reach higher levels this season and is fast becoming the leading candidate to win the Player of the Year award. Yes, they did cope without him at Aston Villa, but do you feel he's the one player that they can't do without on a sustained period of time?
Yeah, no, I agree with Sam there. I'd have him as favourite to win Player of the Year. And, the Villa match, let's not forget, the first half, they could have been 3-0 down. Arsenal were incredibly open. They didn't play that well. They were actually quite open for periods in the first half yesterday as well. But, Rice is so important for Arsenal. He's so important for England as well. If England are going to do anything at the World Cup, they have to have Declan Rice, playing at his best. And at the moment, he's just so impressive. But equally, Arteta has to make sure that he rests players at the right time. It was interesting last night, there was Saka and Trossard on the bench, because Arteta does overplay players, whatever he says, and he denies that, he really does. And there's been a few times even this season, maybe we're thinking, is Jurrien Timber going to get injured, and because he keeps playing all the time, and so that is still a concern. But regarding the discipline, an interesting thing is not only have they improved, but also there's been a few times where Arteta's taken players off on yellow cards, which he wasn't doing last season. So even things like that, he is learning. And one interesting, I like covering games at Bournemouth because you're really close to the action, like Newcastle. And again, there's a period where I was watching Arteta, and Bournemouth had a goal kick, and he was screaming at sort of Gabriel to sort of move about a metre to the left and half a metre back. And the goal kick landed on that very spot. Arteta knew exactly. Shows you what he's been doing at night, literally just watching Bournemouth goal kicks, because Gabriel didn't know that. And I just think that just shows the levels we're talking about. Arteta just looked at the keeper, saw, I know where that ball's going to land, and he was right. So it just shows. I thought that was quite remarkable.
Yeah, Arsenal then 6 points clear at the top.
7 points clear of Manchester City at the top of the table. City, of course, playing tomorrow. Paul, you said it earlier, it wasn't a vintage performance from Arsenal, but they still managed to take all 3 points and score 3 goals in the process.
Yeah, and it's just their substitutions as well. They seem to just grind teams down. Like, I thought they grinded Villa down last week, and I think today they did. I mean, when you watch first half, Declan Rice, every time he got it, someone was on him. Had his head down, whoever the midfield were. But when you look at his goals, there's no one anywhere near him. Do you know what I mean? And they dictated the game. Second half, they had more composure. And I couldn't feel, the Bournemouth players didn't get near the midfield three in the second half. First half, I thought they were all over him like a rash. But second half, their squad's so strong. It's so strong. The 3 substitutions come on, remind me of the old, back in Sir Alex Ferguson's Man United teams. Do you know what I mean? When they bring on three
Trossard, Saka, Jesus, big players
I played in a Villa game.
And that was a problem from last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they brought on Van Nistelrooy, Scholes, and I think Giggs. I mean, you're like, oh,
what do you do when that happens?
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Make it fair.
So yeah, he's got to get it right, though. I didn't think first half, I thought it was probably a game for Saka to start. For me, I thought this was a game Saka starts in. Difficult away ground to go to, but they come out with flying colours again. Wasn't vintage, but what can you say? 3 points, 6 points clear at the top, and they can sit home and watch on Sky tomorrow Man City against Chelsea.
It's that much repeated quote from Mikel Arteta about finishers and starters. He doesn't see players as, kind of first choice, 11 players. It's the ones who start the game, but then he does bring on that energy to do exactly what Paul said, which is just grind teams down with the consistency.
Yeah, it does. And, they're bringing on Marino as well towards the end of the game. And he's not looking around to bring on Eze or, Miles Lewis-Skelly to go and win the game maybe 4-2, 5-2. He's thinking, I want to keep hold of what I've got. That's the sort of manager he is. I don't think it's going to be really that expansive. But like Paul says, they've scored 3 goals today. It wasn't an easy game because of what Bournemouth, they make it very uncomfortable. And I think that's really where they get their first goal from, because Bournemouth are really good. They set the traps for them. They never made them feel comfortable. But then once second half come, they started to feel a bit more relaxed and obviously important goals at the right moment. And it was a really big result for them. Make no mistake, and it sets up the Liverpool game on Thursday night perfectly now for them.
You said important goals at the right moment. 2 of them, of course, from Declan Rice, who joins us now. Declan, thank you very much for just making sure that he's all set up and ready to go. Declan, can you hear us?
Wait, say that again because I lost the connection.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us loud and clear?
I can hear you now.
All working.
Yeah,
we're just saying congratulations on the victory, first of all, but also for you. We know that very famously you've scored 2 goals in a Champions League game before this, but you've never scored 2 goals in a Premier League game before today.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat. I hadn't scored a lot this season, to be honest with you. I'd only scored 2. So to grab a brace today and an important victory was a really nice feeling. When you win and you're able to help out the team like I did today, it always had that extra bit of a special feeling. So, I'm delighted with the goals and obviously more importantly 3 points because they're a really good side, Bournemouth, especially here.
Yeah, and they're always important games, particularly when you get to this stage of the season, when you are chasing a Premier League title. But this one coming off the back of the win against Villa, who are one of your direct competitors. Manchester City dropped points against Sunderland. It just feels like it was a significant one in terms of timing as much as anything.
Yeah, massive. Obviously, off the back of Aston Villa, I think the key thing today was to build on that and to go and win. The win against Villa would have meant nothing if we come here today and didn't pick up anything. But it's so important this time of the year. The schedule's crazy. The fixtures come thick and fast. And, if you can win your games in and around Christmas, on top of what we've done already, it's going to put us in a really good position. So we've got to keep building on that, keep the mentality right, keep pushing. But we're in a really good spot at the minute, and long may that continue.
Hi, Dick. Paul Merson here.
You're right.
You're right, mate. I was just going to say,
all good.
What did Mikel Arteta say at half-time? Because I thought first half, their midfield were all over you like a rash first half. Didn't really have time to get your heads up. A couple of times they intercepted, got you moved, And I thought Arsenal as an Arsenal team give the ball away a lot more than they usually do. Second half, you sort of overpowered them. Was there anything that he said that sort of changed that, where you had to drop off or, push on or...
Yeah, no, I think in the first half, I think we was doing the things they wanted. We kept playing the ball to our left side and they kept trapping us. As soon as we made that one pass over to Gabriel, they all swarmed in on us and, we made us either go back to David or kick it long. And like you said, it did feel like that on the pitch. It felt like they were swarmed all over us in the first half. But, we're a team at second half. Once we get in there at half time and the manager speaks and we speak between each other, we knew we had the quality and we knew the space was there to go on and win the game. And we've done that a lot this season. So, credit to everyone to go out there and perform how we did second half, because that wasn't easy today.
Declan, Jamie Redknapp, congratulations, mate. Hopefully you've got a screen in front of you now. I want to talk about your 7
successive wins in all competitions. What was said in the dressing room after that, because it got tense in those final moments, but a massive victory for you to go so far ahead in the league.
Yeah, no, credit to ourselves. Everyone knows it's such a tough place to come to. They're a very, very good team, strong at home, and yeah, we're just really happy that we got the win and we keep the momentum going. We've got some tough games coming up, a really long month with a lot of fixtures, so we just want to keep the momentum going for sure.
We found out that Big Gabby might just be human today. Bit of an error. How nice to then set him up with a beautiful run for redemption. It was a lovely move from you.
Yeah, no, to be fair, all credit to him, He didn't let that early slip phase him. It happens to everyone. Everyone makes errors, especially at the highest level. So I was delighted that he finished it. He finished it like a striker as well, so really good from him.
Really tough place to come. We've lost here last season. It was difficult the season before, so we knew what we was in for today. Manager made us well aware of that after not the best start. I think to show our character again and come back was massive, and to win 3-2 in the end was a massive result.
I know you hate missing games, but you made up for it today, didn't you?
I was fuming. I'd done everything I can to be involved, but it was just no point risking it. But made sure I was back for today, which was a real positive. But to miss that was annoying, but to come back today and help the team and score 2, I think the fans will be really happy, and I'm happy myself that I could help out, because this team's special, and if we're all chipping in together, I'm sure good things will happen.
Yeah, and 2 well-worked goals in the second half. A great link-up again with the skipper, Martin Odegaard, for your first goal. Tell us about that.
Yeah, he's so intelligent. I think he's just... the way he fills passes through, even for the second one, the way he played through to Bukayo. There's not many players in the world who can play them passes. And he heard me, he was going to shoot, but he set me back, and I was so happy, because the more he assists for us and our teammates, and the more he scores, the more he's firing, it's going to help us do good things. So yeah, delighted with that.
And a big role in your first goal by Victor Gyökeres as well, holding the ball up and making a nuisance of himself up there.
Yeah, it's tough for him, because he's got 2 defenders on him all game, all over him. So he has to use his strength. He has to do whatever he can to help the team. And with that first goal, without him making that run from Gabby's flick and holding it and setting it off to Martin, the goal wouldn't have happened. So that was a pivotal moment in the game for us, to turn the game on its head. So it was massive. And like I said, I see this guy every day. I see his finishing. I see how hard he hits a ball. When that space arrives for him and the ball's arriving at his feet to score goals, he will 100% score. But in a minute, defenders in the Premier League, they want to be able to stop Victor Gyökeres, because he's one of the best strikers in the world, and that happens naturally, when you play against the best players. So trust me, he's doing unbelievable for us. We wouldn't be where we are without him. So let's keep trying to feed him, keep trying to get him on the score sheet. But if not, the way he's helping the team's massive, so it's good.
And finally, nice for you to have a nice memory here, as you say, after last year, but also a new song today. What did you make of that?
Yeah, we're trying to work it out. I don't know. What was
That's the way I like it, but it was Declan Rice.
Oh, okay, yeah, decent.
Yeah.
Decent.
You're trying to listen to it then?
No, one of the people in there said, what was that song? I thought it was a Christmas song, and I thought it's the new year. Christmas has gone. So yeah, I'm happy.
I mean, he must be the perfect player for any manager.
It's a manager's dream. He's a manager's dream, he really is. I mean, his attitude is amazing. He very rarely misses games, and when he's out there, he's a regular 8 out of 10. So he's been incredible.
So he said that to you, did he, about Yaya Toure?
That's what I remember watching it, and he actually said that, he watched Yaya Toure's game, and the way Yaya Toure is to get the teams up the pitch and, drive through midfield. And he's got that. I think the only thing that now is probably adding a little bit more goals to his game. And he can, when he arrives on the edge of the box, he makes good contact, he's a good finisher.
Trossard, Saka, Jesus, big players to bring
I played in a Villa game.
And that was a problem from last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they brought on Van